If you actually want to pull up the YouTube.
Yeah, I just did. I just subscribed to it. I thought I was.
Got the ticker going, got everything going. Get a few people in here, hopefully here. Right. Does it show up that we've got a live stream?
Let me refresh.
Oh, yep. If you go to our live section, it shows it.
It's there, yep.
Cool. Does it show up that we've got a live stream?
Delay.
Yeah, go ahead and mute your...
Yeah, I did.
Okay, cool.
My mom's texting. She says she sees us.
All right, perfect. Well, welcome back, guys, to the CSC Podcast, our first ever live show.
Yes.
Coming to you on YouTube. AJ, how excited are you to do this live for the first time?
This is our first time. Yeah, we've done a video here on our channel. It's been a couple of months since we did that, but something different. We try out. People love video, and we have a lot to talk about. A lot of fun, interesting tidbits from this past weekend. I was at a game. You got to go to a game as a fan, which is the first time in a long time. So yeah, it's gonna be fun to talk about and a new experience, and hopefully it works out well.
Yeah, absolutely. So, guys, we're just going to dive into it. We've got NIU at Nebraska, plays of the week, helmet stickers, games of the week, and anything else we want to talk about. So here is the intro.
Three-time NFL Pro Bowler, all-decade return specialist, Josh Cribbs. I want to welcome you to the College Sports Connection podcast, where AA Alex and AJ host the Mid-American Conference podcast.
I love that Josh Cribbs intro. Every time we have that, every time he talks, it's always good to have him doing Josh Cribbs things and sounding just like Josh Cribbs would. So
absolutely,
love that video.
That's a really cool thing. Cameo hit this, or was the right time, right place for us on that. And I think I read that he was in the list for Pro Football Hall of Fame this year. He made that.
Yeah, I think I saw that as well.
Yeah.
So that's it's exciting for him, especially another guy out of the Mid-American Conference.
No, without a doubt.
Glad to have that opportunity for him. Glad to see him getting those opportunities to advance himself as an athlete and kind of cement his legacy as a Cleveland Brown and NFL legend.
No, without a doubt.
So let's just dive into it. AJ, you were at NIU at Nebraska this week. Go ahead and talk about that. Tell me about the experience. Talk about, really anything you want on that week.
Yeah, absolutely. The wife and I made this 7.5-hour trip from Colorado Springs to Lincoln, Nebraska for that game on Saturday. And luckily it was a primetime kickoff because that was a long drive through Kansas and Nebraska. I realized how flat the Midwest is. It's been a year since I've been away from it. First time in a year I've seen a cornfield. We'll put it that way. So, it was a lot of fun though. Nebraska, it was the first home game of the year. 86,000 some people filled out Memorial Stadium. It was great to see. We've done some work with Big Ten schools over the past couple of years. Ohio State, Illinois, and now Nebraska. And those big facilities put on one heck of a show. And Nebraska did not disappoint. I was in the press box. Faith was in the field taking pictures. She got some phenomenal pictures. I've shared a few with you over the past couple of days. Tonight she'll be picking out her favorite 4 or 5, and we'll have those as teasers on the Instagram here probably tonight, and then we'll have them uploaded to the website here by the end weekend's time. She did a phenomenal job. They got some great stuff there of all the great of Nebraska and NIU. Got to talk to Coach Hammock for a little bit, talked to Matt Rule for a little bit. Between the third and fourth quarter, they did a fireworks, flamethrowers, drone show, which was it felt like a rock concert, which is really cool. Outside of those festivities, the game, it was one of those games where NIU just could not capitalize early. They had an opportunity to score a touchdown. I believe it's early in the first quarter, rather. Nebraska had fumbled inside the 5-yard line, and they went for -8 on that drive. Ended up getting 3 on that drive, and not scoring until the last drive of the game with backups. Just talking to Coach Ham briefly after the game, he was pretty disappointed. You can kind of tell he was standing by the locker room with his arms crossed. I don't think he was very happy with the effort NIU put out on the field that day. They struggled offensively, defensively, and special teams. All 3 phases they struggled. Early on, you and I off air talking a little bit, we thought it was going to be a little bit closer game than what it really was, because both teams coming off disappointing losses the week before. Colorado had beat Nebraska, and then NIU had lost to the Salukis of Southern Illinois the week prior as well, and Nebraska hadn't won a game on the year up until Saturday.
Right.
So it was really disheartening to see the final score being 35-11. NIU did not put up the numbers I thought they would. Rocky Lombardi was only 11 of 28 for 73 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 pick. Brown only ran the ball 8 times for 16 yards. His longest was 7. Team only ran 22 times. And Ethan Hampton came in at the end of the game with 6 of 8 for 50 yards. With those 2 guys combining for 123 yards on the day. It was just all around rough game for the Huskies. It was weird saying Huskies and Huskers, but you're traveling to NIU this weekend for the Tulsa game. I would imagine you're going to see an entirely different game or a different team than what we saw last week.
Yeah, and we'll dive into that here in a little bit. I'm excited to go to that one. NIU is one of our favorite places to be at. We were there for the spring game a few years ago. Love NIU. But yeah, I mean, it sounds like overall you had a great weekend despite the outcome for the Huskies. You said it's Memorial Stadium down there in Nebraska.
Stadium. Yep, and again, I thanked her so many times with Donna Turner, the SID over at NIU. I thanked her. You got to talk to her for a little bit. She said she didn't do a whole lot, but somehow we still got passes, and sure. We're on TV a couple of times, like I said. But yeah, like I mentioned, we posted a couple of videos, some of my favorite videos the other day on our Instagram, and we're gonna have some pictures posted here probably tonight. I'll have Faith take a look at a few and see which one she likes the most. I think she ended up with 400 some pictures throughout the day. And it was a really cool setup. So we're going to have some fun things here with that game the next couple of days.
Sure. So, I mean, again, great opportunity for the show to be represented out there at Nebraska versus NIU. Looking forward to this week, of course. But we've got some plays of the week we need to talk about.
Yeah.
We had both, as we've been doing all year, we both sat down, we picked one apiece. I've got the video clip for both of ours. We'll start with yours, AJ.
Yeah.
For Ohio, Rodney Matthews with the game-winning pick. I've got that ready to go.
Perfect. Let's see it.
I mean, what an incredible play. Rodney Matthews just being in the right place at the right time to secure that win for the Bobcats. You want to break it down?
Yeah, absolutely. You kind of look at that as a tip pass, and you talk about right time, right place. Just popped it, hung up in the air just long enough for him to get under it. But you talk about that play, but you talk about the game as a whole, how big of a game that was, not only for OU, but the conference as well, because it's been a rough 2 weeks or so for the conference, having some disappointing losses and having this home and home with Iowa State, having the Bobcats gone out there last year and lost for the Cyclones to come to Athens this week. And, a relatively lower scoring game than I thought it would be. I thought both offenses were really good. But, had 10-7 obviously was the final. It was definitely not the game I had expected it to be. I only got to see some highlights and listen to it a little bit on the drive to the stadium. But as a whole, you kind of look at it here. Kirsten Rourke was 16-32, or only 135 yards, 1 touchdown. He also led rushing with 58 yards on 7 carries. His longest was 12. So not explosive stats from that game, but OU was able to get it done.
Yeah, OU able to get it done. A little bit of controversy in the game over a field goal, but you know what? We're going to take the win for the MAC. 1 of 2 win over Big 12 schools that weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And funny enough, my play of the week this week is Yasin McKee with the blocked field goal against Cincinnati to force overtime. I've got that queued up, ready to go here.
Smack dab in the middle of the field. Burton with the hold. Here comes the blitz off the edge, and they block it. The kick is blocked. Are you kidding me?
Give you a chance to call it. Let's just see McKee. I'm leaving right now. I'm out of here. I'm out of here. The kid's been all over the field tonight. If you look here, Peyton Singletary is just trying to get, some leverage to make sure that the interior.
So it sounds like on that game, I mean, when you watch that clip, you can't help but be excited for the Redhawks, right?
Mm-hmm.
This was a Miami team who hadn't secured a win in this rivalry since 2005.
Yeah.
Cincinnati has dominated this rivalry the last 18 years. I guess the last 17 times they've played, not counting the COVID year. Wow. I mean, what a big moment for this kid to come in, get right off the edge, and he looked like he was unblocked.
Yeah.
He just comes right in and just sniffs out the ball and stretches way out. I mean, that you look at that video and you watch that clip, he is fully stretched out as far as he can be.
Mm-hmm.
And just what a great heads-up play. Miami obviously went on to win that game in overtime. And part of the reason why I picked him for the play of the week is he actually secured the game-winning interception in overtime. So just a lot of speed to send it to overtime, and then a lot of awareness to help secure the win in overtime for the Redhawks.
Yeah, this is a game, too, that I think you myself picked correctly. Because to the people not involved with the conference at all, they know nothing about Miami of Ohio. But they've heard Cincinnati. They know the success of Cincinnati over the past couple of years. And nobody gave the Redhawks a shot. But we know, look at Blaine Gabbert. This was a Blaine Gabbert game that we think he can play the rest of the season. 12 of 20, 237 yards, 3 touchdowns, only 1 interception. He also led rushing with 75 yards on 9 carries. You and I were able to go to the game. You and I and Faith were able to go to the game last year at Paul Brown Stadium, whatever you want to call it. And it was close for the first quarter and a half, and then it blew the doors off of Miami as we drove to Columbus that night that afternoon. And obviously, Avion Smith was playing. He was a quarterback. Gabbert was out. But this is the kind of game that we thought Gabbert could play, and this is the type of player we thought he could be coming off an injury. He had a lot to prove this year, and this is a signature win for him, but it's also a massive signature win for Coach Chuck Martin. A friend of ours, a guy we've had on the show a few times, we've talked to. This might be the single biggest win of his career. And his 10-year career now at Miami?
Yeah, this is a big one for him. This is a big one for the program. And if you listen to his post-game interview, he talked about how this means more than conference championships, how it means more than bowl game wins. He had a little bit of a cheeky comment there at the end of his post-game presser talking about if you beat a Big 12 school on the road, you're supposed to receive $1.5 million. So I expect that check to be on the athletic director's desk.
Yeah.
A lot of Cincinnati fans were not happy with that comment.
Not only they give up 1.5,
and I get it, right? I get it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a huge win for Miami. Again, the second of 2 wins over Big 12 schools this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Let's flip into our helmet stickers. AJ, you picked a guy from Miami,
I did.
Matt Salopek. I've got that image here for us. 18 tackles, 6 solo, and a win over Cincinnati. Talk about his performance.
Yeah, I mean, like I mentioned here, 18 tackles, 6 solo, 1.5 tackles for loss on the game. On the season, he has 35 tackles, 1 sack. He's a guy who's all over the field. He's a junior out of Kent, Ohio. He's a 6'1", 230-pound linebacker who I think Coach Martin and the defensive staff can really have to rely on over the season because he is the leader of that defense. He's been there 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is his 5th year in Miami. Started in 2019. His best year was last year with 124 total tackles, 61 solo, and 63 assisted with 3.5 sacks. He already has 1 sack on the year. I think he's going to blow past last year's stats, and he'll be a guy who will be talked about when it comes to MAC Defensive Player of the Year.
I think he'll be talked about, and I think that there's good reason that he should be talked about. I mean, when he's got the motor that he has and he's flying all over the field, 18 tackles in the game is a lot.
Mm-hmm.
6 solo, not crazy, but I mean, still a lot. 18 tackles is a lot of tackles in a game.
Yeah.
And then to get a win over a rival that you guys haven't beat in almost 20 years, there's something to be said for a performance like that, an inspired performance like that. So I definitely think that he earned your helmet sticker this week.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, just a great performance overall. Moving into my helmet sticker, I picked up the wide receiver out of Eastern Michigan, the Fordham transfer, Hamzi El Zayat.
Mm-hmm.
His performance wasn't necessarily mind-blowing. 3 catches, 62 yards. It was what he did at the end of the game. What had happened was Eastern Michigan was down, I want to say it was like 17-13, and he catches the game-winning touchdown and has some sweet moves on this catch. And really, this was almost my play of the week, but I felt like he earned the helmet sticker for the inspired performance of the week. It came out, he'd been struggling all game, had not really been targeted too much. Like I said, only 3 catches, only 62 yards. But to secure the touchdown at the end of the game to beat UMass, who, in all fairness, played really, really well in this game.
Yeah.
I want to give UMass a lot of props for their defensive efforts in this game and for taking the lead. But I really want to give my helmet sticker and my hats off to Hamzi El Zayat. Excellent play, excellent heads up, ready to just go out, do what he can to help win for this team. Very impressed with his efforts this weekend.
Yeah, without a doubt. When you and I were texting last week and you asked for my game picks, I'm pretty sure I put in parentheses when I sent you this one close. Because UMass is one of those teams that does hang around. They've always been like that. Mm-hmm. And Eastern is at a point where they have the tools. They're just putting them all together now, and they can be really competitive at the end of the year.
Yeah, they could be really competitive. This is a really good program. Defensively, I think they've got it figured out.
Yeah.
Offense is where they're really kind of figuring things out, trying to understand who's doing what, who's going to do what, how it's going to fit in. Samson Evans hasn't looked Samson Evans so far this year.
What took him a few weeks last year?
But I think that they're going to get there, Yeah, I think it'll take him a few weeks to kind of finish figuring it out.
Mm-hmm.
But it's Samson Evans. He'll be fine.
Yeah, without a doubt.
All right, games of the week. We've got a good slate on tap. Who are you watching out for this week?
Yeah, just to kind of run down in here, the Georgia Southern plays at Ball State, Tulsa at Northern Illinois, which you will be at. We got Western Michigan at Toledo, OU at BG, Delaware State at Miami of Ohio. Eastern travels down to Jacksonville State. Central Michigan travels down to Southern Alabama. Akron, Indiana. Buffalo at Louisiana. And Kent State at Fresno State. The one that really interests me here is Akron at Indiana.
Hmm.
Both teams have not looked good the past couple of weeks at all. So this is going to be one of those games where one team is going to break out, whether it's IU or Akron. We thought would be a little more competitive here early on. DJ Irons is 47 to 72 for 392 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick on the year. Lorenzo Lingard on the year he has 21 carries, 78 yards. The leading rusher is 78 yards. He's also the leading receiver with 139 yards and one touchdown. There's going to be a lot of questions to answer, I think, in this game because we get into conference play here. Really, quarterback is, and DJ Irons has not played at the potential we thought he could. So I'm really curious to see how this game happens down in Bloomington. It's a 5:30 kickoff. That's my game of the week. My game to watch.
Okay. And I think that's going to be a good game. It's the last chance for the MAC to get a win over the Big Ten this year. A streak that's in jeopardy. So it's, obviously pulling for Akron this weekend. That streak, a streak that dates back to 2005. So good luck to the Zips down there in Bloomington. I think, and this is Bowling Green. It's a conference matchup. The first conference matchup for both programs. Bowling Green coming off a 31-6 loss at Michigan. Ohio coming off that 10-7 win over Iowa State. I think that whoever gets hot in this one, and I think it'll probably be Ohio. The spread's 13 points right now. But I think whoever gets hot, that's going to be kind of the course of the season for either team.
I'd agree.
Bowling Green looked really impressive defensively for the first half of that Michigan game. I was very impressed. You have 3 interceptions in that game against a Power 5 opponent who is a national champion contender. Bowling Green deserves a tip of the hat. You guys looked really good this week.
Sure.
Ohio offensively didn't do much. They did enough. I think it'll be really interesting to see because I think Ohio has a really good defense as we saw this last weekend. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what the Bobcats do defensively. Bowling Green might be in trouble. Connor Bazelak got hurt in the Michigan game. And then Camden Orth didn't play well in that Michigan game. I think he also got hurt. So they may be starting a freshman, a Purdue transfer. So it's going to be really interesting to see. It looks like it's Bowling Green's homecoming as well. Last year on homecoming, they'd upset Marshall.
That's right.
We'll see.
Yeah.
This will be a really good game, and I expect this to be a defensive game.
I think so. I think it will be too. I think, but it's one of those things too. If Curtis Rourke gets hot with Sam Wiglis or whatnot, it's over.
Yeah, if they can connect and they can stay in tune together, it's lights out for Bowling Green, I think.
Without a doubt.
So, anything else you want to talk about? Let's just wrap this thing up. Let these people watching at home get on with their lives. Anything else you want to kind of throw out there, talk about?
No, I think we're inching closer and closer to conference play, which is going to be really exciting. Probably starts next week. And
most everybody else starts next week.
Yeah, most next we have one non-conference game next week. That's BG at Georgia Tech, which we'll get to next week. But yeah, we're getting closer and closer. The road to Detroit starts here next week, really. So we're really excited about that. We're really excited to see what some of these teams who have struggled over the past 2 or 3 weeks, what they're going to show this week. I think there's a lot of opportunities for guys who haven't really balled up and showed out yet to do that this week, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think this week is going to be interesting as people wrap up the non-conference, as they kind of prepare for really what's coming in conference. Everybody starts conference play 0-0.
Mhm.
And I think that's important for people to remember. We see a lot of fans from different programs very upset about various performances, which I get. I hear you. I understand it. Every team starts 0-0 in MAC play.
Yep,
You
absolutely.
can still go to Detroit. You can still win a MAC championship. And I think that's important to remember.
Absolutely.
Well, cool. Well, hey, thank you guys so much for tuning in on our first ever live. It's a little bit of a trial and error figuring things out here. We have the matchups for this week down below at the bottom of the screen here for you. So you can see all those. You've been able to see all those the whole show. We'll be adding more features as we do more lives down the road, giving you guys more things to kind of look forward to, with probably a call-in option at some point where you guys can call in and say really whatever you want, ask questions, bring up points we may have missed, give you guys the opportunity to have your voices heard as well. So, AJ, if that's it for you, I think that's going to do it for me.
That's it.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we will see you next week.
See you.